and tricks that they have prepared. If you are new to Virtual So Fun, we actually do these presentations live in our stores at all 11 of our locations. So hop online to our website, qualitysewing.com, for all of our locations and times when you can get signed up and come be a guest. We'd love for you to participate because there's fun, food, prizes, camaraderie, friends. It's so great. So we're so glad that you are here with us today. If you would like to purchase any of these notions and products that they are talking about, we are going to put a link on there down in the comments, and you can also put in the code AprilFun to earn your 20% discount on these products. Now, you're going to want to take advantage of it as soon as you can, because when May 14th comes around, we're going to take those down and they'll probably be sold out by then. So we're so glad you're here today. We hope you have a great time, and I'm going to turn the time over to Ann and Donna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I just want to say how excited I am to work with Ann this month. We haven't been paired since probably 2017, and it was fun pulling together all these products, and we've been talking about this program since last April.
Yeah, a whole year.
Yeah, so let's get started. We're going to talk about the advantages that precuts give you in your quilting. And we're going to show you some of the most popular sizes, the first being fat quarters. And most everybody knows what a fat quarter is, but if you don't, instead of being 18 inches or 44 inches wide by 9 inches, the cut is quartered up into 22 by 18. So it gives you a much more flexible piece of fabric. The next one is jelly rolls, and that is a 40-piece set of 2.5-inch strips. Many times it's one color of each, but sometimes it's duplicates. And it is salvage to salvage, and this is a very popular size that a lot of patterns call for, the jelly roll. Layer cakes. This is a 10 by 10 inch square. And again, the pack is 40 or 42 with the variety of designer fabrics and solids that they put together. It's pure, it's curated from the factory and the designer. And then oftentimes there'll be a matching one called a charm square. And that is a 5 by 5 cut of fabric, again 40 or 42 pieces with a variety of different colors and patterns. And then finally, the mini charm is just a quarter of that charm pack. So it's 2.5 by 2.5. And there again, it's the full complement of that designer's design pack. So one other thing that you might hear is a honey bun, which is a jelly roll that's 1.5 inches wide. And they're adding new ones every day. So it's just hard to keep up.
It is.
So,
new things make it exciting for us and exciting for you. So I would like to show you a couple of the beautiful samples that we have here behind us. This is a pattern called Make Believe. And one of the things that I wanted to tell you about is, could you hand me one of those things? One of the things that I wanted to tell you about is you can make a lot of these samples that or these patterns that we've made out of most all of these precuts. So Donna was saying that the jelly roll is her favorite. My favorite is the layer cake. These two are made out of the charm squares, and we have 3 different charm square packs here for you today. This one is called Tiny Secrets. This one is Seaside Garden, and Donna.
That one is called Go with the Flow, and it is designed by Ann Lauer, who is famous for Catitude. So if you have Catitude fabric at home, that charm pack should match those colors. This is the Go with the Flow.
Okay, let me just talk about kind of how we put these together, because yours is just a little different than mine. One of the things about the pattern is that on the back, it has all different sizes that you, let me put it up here, all different sizes that you can make. So there's a lot of options there. It does have a very unique sashing here. If you notice back here, it has a very unique way of sashing right here, and I'm going to show you now how this block is made. I made mine with charm squares, but if you didn't want to do that, you could cut a layer cake up and get 4 charm square packs. But these fabrics are so fun and whimsical, little mushrooms and animals, forest animals. And so the block itself is made in a 4-patch. And if you notice, you have a snowball block on opposite corners here, and then you have the option of making a small snowball on the opposite corner of this block, and this block, you put them together and you get that nice little diamond. They were really fun to put together. If you notice here, here's a really cute little owl here, a little bird, and then the mushrooms here. So it's just very, very whimsical and fun. And so I had a lot of fun doing this, and I actually made the throw size. And one of the things that we brought in is the bamboo batting right here, and I'll just hold it up like that. If you notice, my quilt has been folded in a tub for a couple of weeks, and it does not show the folds. The reason being is that this bamboo it's made up of bamboo, silk, cotton, and tinsel. It's a blend. Tinsel is a rayon, and it's a blend, and it doesn't have a memory like your other cotton battings do. It's got wonderful drapeability, and it also is antimicrobial, and it's sustainable. So it is a natural, a totally natural without the scrim, and that's probably why it doesn't retain the folds. They just fall out.
And we were talking earlier about what a great batting this would be for a garment.
Yes.
So if you're thinking of doing a quilted garment, then check this out. It's very fine and drapable,
Yes.
and it just feels really nice.
And the quilting, when you quilt it, it just quilts up beautifully, and you can see the pattern. Also, I think next month they're bringing in a jacket pattern that would be perfect for this. So if you're thinking about doing a garment, now's the time to get your bamboo batting.
That's right. So Ann, tell us about that white fabric. And
Okay. This is a really fun little notion to have. By the way, we have a fat quarter pack from Maywood Studios, and it's a Kimberbell. It's white on white. And Donna, do you find that when you're working with white on whites, it's really hard to see the right side?
yes, you can make a mistake
Very
easily.
easily. So we brought in this little ultraviolet flashlight here, and I'm going to just turn mine on, and you can see that you probably can't see this, I can see this, but you can see the raised kind of painted. This one has a painted finish, and if you turn it over, it just is very, very flat. And so this is a great little tool for working on your white on whites, and especially if you work at night like I do, I need to have extra light.
White on white fabric is just white silk screening over the substrate.
Okay.
So that's where you get your pattern, but you can't see it in most cases.
Yeah.
So the flashlight is really a time saver.
It is a time saver. Okay, Donna, why don't you let us know about a couple more notions?
Okay, so my quilt is a king size bed runner, and it measures 27 by 108. And when I read on the package that center donut was optional, I said, that's for me. I'm not going to do that donut, because I knew Ann would. And so I've done the go with the flow colors, which are the green, the purple, and the turquoise. And I've tried to color block them and keep them in order. And so I made like 12 blocks, and I think I only used 8 of them, or 10. Anyway, I have white on white from that same fat quarter package, and you can use any combination together, and from a distance you can't tell that they're different patterns, but up close it doesn't show anyway with your quilting. I did my own quilting, and I used this pen. Whoops, this is the glue pen.
That's
Ann.
my glue pen that I need.
Here it is. This is the Styla disappearing ink pen. And the reason I like this so well, this is something that Charlotte introduced to me, is instead of being a foam tip, it is a roller ball. So it doesn't dry out and it doesn't mash down, and it just goes on so smoothly, even across those little white silk screened marks on this fabric. Now that's erasable by just a spritz of water. And so it's so easy. I did a lot of marking on this quilt, especially in these areas. And then I decided, you know, instead of trying to spritz 10 feet, I just throw it in the laundry. This is the first time I've ever washed a So Fun quilt before presentation. And you can see that this bamboo batting just bloomed so nicely and has such a nice feel to it.
You know, Donna, one of the things that I love about that pen is the point is very, very fine.
Yes.
And sometimes you use other markers and the point is fat, and you get a really precise marking with that.
Yes. And the reason being is sometimes they're a fiber tip and they start to wear down, and you haven't used up all
Good
the ink,
point,
but
yeah.
the point gets fat. So I used this cute cut ruler, and this is a 2.5 inch ruler instead of being 3, and I used it to quilt all of my lines on this quilt. I just put the texturized edge nearest my foot and held it as I stitched from corner to corner. So this was a really good ruler work at your machine ruler.
Can I just tell you, I'm just going to put it down here, so I'll put it on top of this white fabric. The reason that I love this ruler is I like the length. I love the 2.5, because sometimes your 2.5 inch rulers are a lot longer and you're just wanting to cut smaller areas. But I love this 1/2 inch marking. How many times do you have to mark a 1/2 inch or measure a 1/2 inch to cut. It is just, it's one of my new favorite sewing tools, and I just love it. And I'll be using it in my demo in just a few minutes.
Yeah. So just to finish up, I did my binding just with some of the solid colors from that pack. I did have some yardage, and so here's the extra blocks that I didn't have any use for, so I found use. And then just some extra fabric from the collection, and there you have it.
It shows the texture. Pre-washing or washing it. Look at the texture on that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I never realized what could happen when it goes through the wash. So
I always wash all my personal quilts because I like that old-fashioned look.
blooming.
Yeah, blooming.
We call it blooming.
Yes.
And there's a couple more things on this list, and I'm going to
Okay.
get set up for my sewing demo.
Okay, I wanted to talk about Roxanne temporary spray adhesive. One of the things that I've always done is I've always used a different spray adhesive, and you get the odor and you kind of get the overspray. I was very, very surprised at this because usually I'll go outside if I have to spray, so I don't do it in my sewing room, but I did this and I love it. It is a temporary spray. Some of the characteristics, it's acid-free, solvent-free, it's odorless, it doesn't stain, and the big thing is it doesn't clog your needles. And so that's something that I have just tried lately, and I really like the outcome.
One thing I like about it, it doesn't seem to have as big a spray. There's not spray that goes off on your ironing board.
Overspray.
Yeah, overspray.
That's a really good idea there. I hadn't thought about that because you've used it a lot more than I have. The other thing that's really fun is this new Quilter's tape measure. I am in love with it. It is actually 12 feet. I have mine right here, and I'm going to open it up. Let me get it this way so that you can see the numbers. And it has a little bird at a lot of the different measurements, like 1/3 of a yard, 1/2 of a yard, and this is 12 feet long. I use this on both my quilts that I did because when I always measure my quilts after I cut them, cut the excess off. But I measure different spots to see if they are square. And you can roll this tape measure out, and it's stationary.
Yeah.
Your measuring tapes are great, but they're not stationary. So this is a very, very affordable way to measure your quilts or do whatever you need.
And to recognize it if it ends up in your husband's tool drawer.
He wouldn't like it because it's pink. It's not his color. Okay, Donna.
Okay, I'm going to show you a couple of ways to put together those corners, those snowball, as we call it, corners on this pattern. And it can be challenging to get them to fall correctly. So I have the cute cut ruler and the blue pen, and I'm just marking that across. Now, I'm not a person that has the patience to use a leader or an ender. And so oftentimes my thread gets kind of gummed up in the machine. So this is what I've started doing. With my FOF at home, I drop the foot, I drop the needle, and then I pull my fabric right up to that needle and then move it just a thread over. And my needle is right where I want to start sewing. And if you just hold on to the thread with your fingers, and then just drive down that blue line. Well, I'm going to use scissors instead of that. And there you have that snowball corner.
Donna, you know something that I always do before I cut, because you're going to trim off the excess, I always fold it up to make sure it's exactly even.
Right, you want it even right across here.
Yep.
And too, I've noticed some of the demos lately, if you have a big enough corner, you can come back and do another stitch line across here, and that gives you a secondary triangle.
Exactly.
If you want to be that.
No, it's not for me.
So that is the same method that I use. Say I wanted to put binding together. So I have links of 2.5-inch fabric, and I want to create binding. So you're going to decide that this is the direction you want the binding to be stitched. And that's the same method. I drop the foot, I drop the needle, and I love a foff with this automatic foot drop with the pedal. And then I'm just going to come up here, follow this tape, and just slide that right in and scooch it right up so it sits on the needle. Grab your thread. And let that little slit in the foot follow the blue line. And now you have got those two pieces of fabric stitched so you can keep making binding. Now I thought this was something that I just did because I was
Frustrated.
But you know, I actually saw someone on TV the other day do the same thing, start stitching with her needle down, and that was Tula Pink. So I thought, well, I'm not crazy or lazy.
I've always said that sewing is just a lot of your own common sense, and you're going to figure out what the designers figure out, but they get the credit for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of us. Okay, let's move over here, Donna, and we're going to talk about our Mondo bag and our biddy bag. Let me see.
These were so much fun. And do you want to start by talking about the substrate? The
pattern?
Yeah, the pattern and this.
Yeah. Substrate's a big word, and I didn't know what it was. So. Okay, thank you. I've learned a new word today. This bag is a bag that I say is for all ages because this pattern has been around. They've reintroduced it. It's a very classic pattern, and I made diaper bags for some of my family and friends out of this bag many years ago, and the young people love it as well as us older people. And so
Mature.
It's just a really fun bag to put together. You can use either your mini charms, you can use a charm pack, you can use
jelly roll.
jelly rolls. You can even cut a layer cake down and do different things. And what's exciting about this is that we have different samples for you to see today using these different techniques. One of the things I do need to tell you is you're going to be using a fusible grid here. It is has markings on it. It's a 2.5 inch fusible grid, but when you buy the pattern in the biddy bag, you will get enough for 2 bags. In the Mondo bag, you will just get enough for 1 bag, but if you want to make more, we have the grid here for you to work with. And so I made 2 different Mondo bags and 1 biddy bag, but I wanted to just give you a little bit of an overview of the technique. So I'm going to move over here. And I put mine together with the mini charms. No, with the charms. And what I did is the charm pack is 5 inches and you cut it in fourths, and that gives you 4 40-piece mini charms. And so this is what you're going to do. You're just going to do random piecing. What you do first is this is the interfacing, or the gridded interfacing, and you just make sure that you lay the mini charm on the side that has the glue dots. How do I know? I got some laid out and I tried to press them and they wouldn't stick, and I thought, okay, I need to turn it over. So that's all you have to do. You're going to start with stitching your short rows first, and then you're going to clip in between the rows here. And then you will press 1 this way, 1 this way, 1 this way. And then when you do your final seaming, what happens, here's a final seam here, it takes and gets rid of all of your raw edges, and it's your seam here, and that's all you have to do. And then you just follow the pattern. You'll have 4 of these sections. You just put them together per the pattern instructions, and
the instructions are incredible.
Yes.
The way you start and put them together like a puzzle, and it
Right.
creates a square base that you build the bag up.
And you have to know that it creates a square base because it's almost kind of skewed. And we'll show you. Let's go over and see what we have over here.
You want to start with the small?
Yeah, let's start with the biddy bag.
Okay.
This biddy bag right here, I just made it out of leftover little mini charms. That was the first one I made, and there are options for closures. I just used ribbon here. You make these 4 little closures here on the top, and I just used ribbon to close it. Donna has a very interesting and artistic closure on hers.
I used last month's So Fun clothesline, and I just kind of stained it with watered down acrylic paint. And so it was natural in color, and I colored it pink. So the other option for this bag, if you want to just use 2 tabs, is to pull these 2 together with a button or some Velcro, and then it can be carried like this. But I decided to do it this way, and it just closes up, and there I have something for my knitting or my hexagons that I might be working on, and then just tie it shut. That takes 52 charm squares, mini charm
Mini
squares.
charms.
So you need like a pack and a third.
And if you don't want to buy the extra pack, you can just add your scrap
add your own
fabric.
scraps, yeah, because
to
they're
make
only
it up.
2.5 inches.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. I think I will go ahead and start with this bag. and I think I'm just going to hold it up because it's pretty big here. This is the Mondo bag, and it is made with the, what I took was I took a charm pack and I cut it into the 2.5-inch squares. Now this does not have any stabilizing in it besides the interfacing. And if you notice here, the bottom is square. Well, it looks kind of off. I'm not getting it straight on, but that's what that's kind of what throws you off, but that is exactly what happens when you put those 4 pieces together. If you don't want to use the mini charms, I made this, and I made it just out of the charm squares. So there's the same amount of sewing, but there's not, if you're using a charm square pack, you don't have to cut it. And then I also put a little key fob here, and I did put the fusible fleece in it, so it has a little more shape to it. But look at the difference between the two when you use different sized squares. It's just a really fun idea. And Donna has a very interesting way that she did hers that I had never even thought about.
Yeah.
So
I wanted to use a jelly roll pack, and I had picked one up on clearance somewhere, so it was not 40 different pieces of fabric. It was more like just 8 designs. So I used just 3 of those patterns and combined 2 together, so I've got these larger panels of jungle animals. And then basically, when you lay the jelly roll strips down on the fusible, I didn't bother to do the cross sewing. I didn't need to. That made my bag a little bit taller. It's, if you want to get creative and do some pockets, it's very confusing when the pattern is laying straight out in front of you. You think you need to put the pattern on straight, but if you do, then it comes out at an angle. So this pocket is at a 45-degree angle. If you want a straight pocket, then put it on at a 45. So, but you don't have to put pockets on if you don't want to.
it is an option.
But yeah, mine has got some fusible batting and then the fusible grid, and then you used the fusible batting too.
I used fusible fleece.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So
You can also, in the pattern, they also tell you you can use anti-soft and stable.
yeah, basically it's a bag that when it's not in use, it just flattens right out.
Yeah,
doesn't
it
take
just
up any
kinda
space.
Lays there. Okay, Donna, I think it's time for us to move over here, and we're going to talk about our Hexies and how exciting it was for one person.
So this is one of my favorite new in the evening watching TV projects, because I can sit and make these Hexies. I can make these Hexies without really thinking about it. So it starts off with a pattern that has 1/4-inch grid lines around all your Hexies. So you're going to make your Hexies and then you're going to lay them out in the pattern that you want.
Grab the pattern over there.
Now this is a new modern way to do a Hexie, and we are going to show you that you can do it as old-fashioned as you want or as new as you want. I don't mind sewing my Hexies together. the corners together. But the great thing is you're not going to hand sew them all together as if you were doing a grandmother's flower garden.
Correct.
So mine are laid out according to the pattern here, and then I've turned them a different direction on this, and that gives you a totally different look. And then Ann, you have two samples.
The pillow is just laid out with the grid here. I just kind of laid it out, and then you just stitch, and you will have stitching on, you can have stitching on sorry. Okay, I got to get in the camera there. You can have stitching on just 4 corners, or if you want, I also did this one, and I did some grid stitching, and you can see that I have stitching on all 6 corners of this. Or is there 8 corners?
6.
6, yeah. And this is actually a little snap bag. I just used tape measure here, and I have the batting here, and I use the temporary spray to make my quilt sandwich. So it's just a really fun idea. And you know what? I was not really sure I wanted to do this project, but I've fallen in love with it.
She equates it to making yo-yos.
I like to make yo-yos. Most people don't. So Hexies and yo-yos are great.
We brought in a couple of containers, and that's where I store my Hexies. And I like to make Hexies out of batik fabric because you can have one piece of fabric and each Hexie's different. And so let's talk about the 2 different ways to do the Hexies.
Okay. Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to move over here to the camera, and this is new to me, but I found it very, very fun. I decided that before I'm going to put a little bit of the glue stick here on the back, and then put this down on my little mini charm square. And then I decided that I wanted to cut the corners off. So I cut the corners off here. And then my thumb is stuck in there. And then I went around and I put glue here. Oh, do you want to turn the iron on? And then all I had to do was take and go around like this.
And this is temporary glue, and we have the glue stick and we have the refill this month. And so when you get your Hexie done, you slip that cardboard out and it retains the shape that you have created with that glue.
But first I pressed it.
Yes.
You want to press it first. Whoops, I bent that. I didn't want to do that. Like this, and then I would hit it with my iron, and after I hit it with my iron, I would take the cardboard out.
Okay, do you want to do that?
Yeah. Do you think it's ready? Yep.
Maybe close.
Ooh, nice. Now I have a sealing iron at home, and I use that, and it really made it stay down. You need to let it dry a little bit before you take the paper out, but then, I mean, you can't do it when it's super hot, and so I just peeled this off like this, and then I just went again and hit it with the iron.
So this is the non-hand sewing method. If you can't hand sew any longer, or you really don't enjoy it, then you can do these hexies without any needle and thread.
And that's what I like to do. I do everything by machine. And then Donna has this corner kind of didn't turn out the best, but you kind of get the idea. Why don't you tell them about what you do to the back?
Okay, so because these hexies are floating on top of the fabric, you've just stitched in 3 different directions. So they're loose. Ann, do you want to grab my pillow and get up close and just slip your finger under the edge? So those are still loose except for the stitching. And because I'm a worrier, I thought, well, you know, I'm going to seal those edges down with scraps of Shapeflex Fusible 101. And so that's what is on the back of many of my hexies if I've completely finished them. So I do the stitching, and that's why I asked if we couldn't bring these clips in this month. So this is the start of my hexie, and I just work from right to left, snug that up, fold it over, and then put these square nose clips on, and they really hold tight. There's my jar. And this is the jar of hexies that we brought in that I like for this purpose. And so you just keep clipping. And this would work too if you were gluing. Mm-hmm. You could glue and clamp and then let the glue set if you didn't want to get the iron out. So now on my hexie, I will go back and I will stitch around and whip stitch all of those little pleats down. And so that's part of the fun I have. This is what one looks like after I've taken the cardboard out and put in the Shapeflex 101 in there. And so now that's ready to just float on the top of any project. And that brings me to, I have started getting kind of improvisational. So here is a traditional grandmother's flower garden shape with the spacing in between it so you can just stitch from corner to corner. Here's one that I actually did, and I stitched this by hand. So this is the traditional method, and then I just edge stitch that down. I would not want to do a whole quilt that way. But I can say I've done it.
Yes.
And then here, it's just batiks floating on the water. And then this one is just somebody took a bite out of that corner. So anyway, I enjoy doing improvisational things with hexies, and I hope you will too. It doesn't have to stop at this pattern.
Exactly.
So
why don't we move over to our 2 other quilts over here, unless we have anything else that we need to wrap up.
These are from the book.
The book is For the Love of Precuts. And so actually I'm going to flip the book over. It has 13 different patterns for quilts, and it is from Annie's.
Annie's Quilting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to move over here, and Donna's going to go ahead and talk about her quilt. Do you want,
Okay.
or shall we do mine first?
Go
Let's
ahead.
Okay. This one is called Gentle Serenade, and all it is just half square triangles and a 4-patch. You look at it, it's actually the one that's on the cover of the book. It looks complicated, but it isn't. You just make your 4 patches right here, and then your half square triangles go around your 4-patch. And I had this fat quarter pack that I bought a couple of years ago, and I thought it was perfect because it's just called Gentle Serenade. And the border, all these coordinate together, and then I just have a fun fabric here on the back. But it was really a lot of fun to put together.
Okay, I had 2 20-strip jelly rolls. There's some companies who will sell you 20 strips instead of 40. So I ordered 2 of those. They're all Asian themed fabrics. And I had trouble because the color range in this is so broad. And I wanted to use all of them. So it kind of gradates from dark to light. And this is the block right here, right here. It looks complicated, but it's so easy once you make the first 1 or 2. And as you put them together, then you get these larger 4-patch plain blocks. And that really shows off the bamboo quilting that I have in this. This is got Hobbs 80/20 batting, and I finished it off with both leftover strips for the first row and then leftover strips for the binding.
One of the things about this book is that it uses a lot of different cuts of pre-cuts, different styles of pre-cuts. Mine was a 10-inch layer cake, and Donna's...
This was designed for 10 fat quarters, but I translated it into a jelly roll.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that means that you're ready to do a demo.
I am going to move over here to the sewing machine, and I've got a couple of demos for you. The first one is, I call this My Magic Sashing. And what it is it is a way to sash without having to measure all these little intersections to get them exactly straight. And so what you're going to do is, this is a 5-inch square, and I've cut a 5-inch sashing here. And this is what you would do normally, but what you can do is you can either put it on the left side or the right side. I tend to be a right side person. Then you're going to measure this width right here, and you're going to sew a piece of sashing here. So that's what I'm going to go to the machine, and that's what I'm going to do. And so let me get... Okay. Okay, so what that does is it goes and it creates a block like this here. So I'm going to move this for just a second, and I'm going to show you it's like putting a puzzle together. That's what quilting really is putting a puzzle together here. And then I need to go this way, that way. And it just is magic. Sashing, what you do is you come out with a completed section like this, so you only have two sides to do your long strips. This takes the place of having the short strip and then the long strip this way, and you don't have to measure. I came upon this a few years ago, and I am so grateful, because it used to bug me to have to match all those up. So that's one of the demos that I wanted to do. The second one is the Acorn Easy Precision Piecing System. I found this, actually Andrea and I, when we did our SoFun together a couple years ago, we brought this in. I had never used it before, but I am a believer, and I think I've even taught Donna that she's a believer as well. I have a long arm machine, and a lot of times you're going to be putting lots of seams here together. So if you notice here, I have pressed my seam open, but this is really bulky. So what I'm going to do is you put the liquid into the pen here, and then you get a little bottle of temporary glue. It has a very wonderful tip here. You can just put little teeny drops to base things in place. So that all comes with the kit, with the system. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just go ahead and I'm going to just put some of this liquid
And that
on.
felt tip is moving up and down and releasing the liquid onto
Yep.
your fabric.
And you can just paint your seams like that, put a little extra here in the center. And when I made my Gentle Serenade quilt, I used this on almost all of the seams. And then all you have to do is just put your iron on it. And if you notice, it was sticking up before I did this, and look at how nice and flat this is. Look at how it flattened it out. My iron isn't super hot, so it's a little bit wet there, but it will dry. See how nice and flat that is?
So much quilter friendly
Yes.
center than before.
Because my long arm doesn't want to go over those heavy seams, and sometimes, usually long arms are pretty good, but if it's too thick, sometimes your thread will break, and I don't want to have that happen. Okay, the last demo that I have for you in this section here, we're going to turn this over because I'm going to be cutting. This is something that I just learned in the last month or so. These are two 10-inch squares from your layer cake stitched together. Then what I've done is I've taken my blue marking styla pen and I've marked the center. This is 5 inches, this is 5 inches. Then what I've done is, and I should have used contrasting thread, I didn't, but I have stitched 1/4 of an inch here. I've stitched on each side 1/4 of an inch of this line and 1/4 of an inch here. I'm going to be able to cut out my little 4 patches out of this 10-inch block. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Cute Cut ruler. I love it. And I have to stand up to cut, sorry. Okay. There. So I've cut that. And now I'm going to measure from the edge at 2.5 inches, and I'm going to cut here, and then all I have to do is flip this around, measure 2.5 inches here.
Works perfect with this ruler.
Yes, and the ruler doesn't slide because it has this little grippy edge here. And then you just cut, and you have your little sections to make your 4-patch. So if you have extra 10-inch squares around or whatever, that's a real great thing to do. Okay.
Okay, a couple things that we want to slip in here is we do have a second type of clip. This is just your basic kind of pointy nose clip, and you use these all the time, Ann.
I do.
For piecing?
I use them especially when I am putting a border on or sashing or whatever. I use them. I used to use pins, but I use these. One of the nice things about these, they have a 1/4-inch marking on it, and also you can stitch further up to the clip than you can with your square-nosed ones. So I use these probably 90% of the time.
I have all different sizes,
Yeah.
and they are for all different projects.
They're great.
Yeah. And then we have a fun thing this month. It's called a car coaster. There's 3 patterns. They're that kind of sandstone ceramic that you see in people's homes. These have been downsized so that you can put that in the bottom of your cup holder in your car, and it will absorb any kind of sweating that comes off of your cup.
I have one that is by my sewing machine, and it's just a wire one. Fits perfect in that.
I thought, what a great idea. I took this one, and on the back of it, I've put a few drops of essential oil, and now my car smells more like lavender than cigarette smoke from the previous owner.
Okay, Donna, why don't you start us out on our fat quarter shuffle mats that are right over here?
The pattern is right there.
Okay, where's our...
There's your rack. And this, again, harkens back to a puzzle. You're going to cut, you can cut all 4 layers of your fat quarter. I chose to just cut 2 at a time, but there's a very specific pattern inside the package that tells you how to cut all of these strips, and then you shuffle them, and they turn out almost like a weave. Now, I started off with this combo, and this is my cautionary tale. You want to use maybe a big, bright pattern, and then one that's not quite so busy, and then a couple of calmer patterns. And my first choices were not great. So I didn't go ahead and finish these because they're just so busy and crazy that I didn't care for them. So that's the first consideration, is what fabric you're going to choose. So I went back and I picked these up at our Bellevue store, and in celebration of Easter, I did these pastels that are calmer and just let the colors stand on their own. And then I used the cute cut ruler and did my quilting. And the blue pen, I marked it with the blue pen and then just stitched with
Mine is a nod to the 250th anniversary. Out of patriotic colors. The only thing that I would add is when you cut these, make sure you mark them with the numbers. That will keep you organized. I had so much fun doing this because I don't pattern real well. There's something missing in my mind that I have to have checks and balances. And so this was really a lot of fun as long as I kept everything organized. And then I just did some stitching on my Dream machine or on my Luminaire machine to quilt them. And it's just a lot of fun, and you can always use placemats. Okay.
You did a nice job of fabric selection.
after
nice.
you told me not to. By the way, I love that. I love those, but I like a lot going on. Okay, we're going to move to our last project here.
Do you want to hand me the pattern?
Yep.
This is a bianni pattern, and it's called Focal Point. And if you haven't made a bianni pattern yet, and you're kind of worried because somebody has told you that the binding is really hard to make or whatever, this is the pattern to start with. There's no binding. It's just doing the quilting the top layer, and then it has a back layer. You stitch them up, right sides together, and turn them inside out. And so you get all kinds of little containers for sunglasses, for sewing tools. Well, we'll show you what we've come up with.
Okay, Donna, you go ahead and take the lead.
This is the standard glasses case, and this just has a little finger snap that holds it together. And the comment that I heard was, this is so much thinner and takes up less space than a traditional old-fashioned glasses case.
And you can snap this on your bag on the strap with the glasses in it. So
then there is this style, which the pattern shows, I believe, a rotary cutter. Let's see, this snaps at
I
an
have a
angle.
rotary cutter. in
Yeah.
mine.
What a great way to protect your rotary cutter and everything else that's in your bag with
Yep.
it.
Okay.
I did a larger pattern, and all of these patterns are designed in two sizes, standard and mini. And there's the mini, which is a great
Cord storage.
I did a bigger one, which is a little bit too big for most glasses, but maybe you have a reason that you want a big glasses case. And here is the double. This would hold lots of tools. I've just got 2 pairs of glasses in mine.
And I wanted to show you, I took this out. I want a seat belt cozy because it irritates my neck. It fits perfectly, so you can put it over your seat belt there. So I'm going to make a couple more of those. And then I have the mini snap, and I've got just a couple of pins in it.
And then we both did the big giant fold over case. Anne has stitched hers down, which is what the pattern calls for. I have left mine flat open. Oh yeah, that gives you a nice pocket in the bag.
Yeah, it does.
I left mine open and then added some fabric across there, so I have a place to carry my double-ended knitting needles.
Okay, well that sums it up for us, and we've had a lot of fun, and hopefully you will have a lot of fun doing the things that we demoed today.
Wonderful. Woo! We're going to bump into each other.
We fit.
We fit. We'll all fit. Thank you so much for joining us today on our April Virtual So Fun. We're so glad that you joined us. Don't forget to log on to, if you wanted any of these really amazing products that Donna and Ann talked about, you can get 20% off when you put in the code AprilFun. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next month. Bye.
Bye-bye.